guys, it's Ashley, and today I'm going to be redoing another video that I did a while back, a couple years ago. I wanted to do it again, and that is a version of the try a chapter challenge tag. I still don't know what it is, but it's where you grab a couple of books, you try the first chapter of each one, and you see what you like. A couple days ago, I posted on my Instagram stories that I have a bunch of books that I currently want to be reading at this point in time, but I also have a lot of other things that I need to be doing. But then also, I can't stop listening to the Heather soundtrack. So what better thing to do than to not make a decision on any of those things and instead try the first chapter of 5 different books. Also, it looks like it's about to rain, so that might be happening in this video. Stay tuned. So last night I got this idea that I wanted to make this video again, and I went ahead at 1 in the morning and counted every single book that I own. I have about 220 books. I did not count my Rick Riordan shelf because I don't need to try a chapter from any of those books, as I have either already read them or are currently finishing them up. So I have 220 books, not counting those, and that does include read and unread books. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna have Google choose which book I read. So let's generate a number. We have 116, so let's go. Oh, I didn't think this through. Let's go count 116 books and see which one it comes to. I don't know if you can see me back here, but I started on my Victoria Schwab shelf last night, so that's where I'm gonna start now. Frick, I lost count! So, book 116 ended up being the first book to a series that I've already read, so instead I grabbed the second book in that series that I have not read yet, and that is The Adventurers Guild Twilight of the Elves by Zach Lauren Clark and Nick Iliopoulos, which I've talked about in a couple of videos in the past, and most recently in my book recommendations video I did with my sister Amanda. This is a middle grade series that is based in this little fantasy world following these two characters who want very different things for their lives, but they're best friends, and one day when this guild choosing ceremony thing happens where they all get to figure out what they're going to do for the rest of their lives, they both get chosen for the Adventurers Guild, which is this daring and dangerous adventure quest guild thing that most people die on. It was a really fun first book, but I never ended up making it to the second book, which, by the way, this is an arc from 2018 BookCon, I think, or Book Expo, so that's why there's that unfinished cover. I never read it, and I felt so bad that I never read it. So let's read the first chapter and see what happens. Also, it's been a good 2 years since I read the first book, so I don't remember any of what happened. So let's see if we can figure out what the heck is happening. I just have to say, I'm only on the 3rd page and I'm so confused already. I remember very faintly the cliffhanger that the first book left off on now that I'm reading this, so hopefully that will trigger something in my brain as I keep reading. Okay, so this chapter is really long, so I'm gonna stop at page 8 because it literally goes on to page almost 30. I know that's kind of cheating, but I also don't want this video to be a million hours long and to have a bunch of footage, so that's where we're gonna stop. I already really like it, to be honest with you. Even though it's just page 8, I'm already being sucked back into this this world. It's so cute in a way because it's a middle grade, so it reminds me, like I've said in my book recommendations video with Amanda, it reminds me so much of Percy Jackson because there's, this humor that goes along with this adventure and also this danger that these children are being put in. And in addition, what I really like about this versus Percy Jackson, even though they both have a similar feel to them, is that this one, it has monsters and things like that, but it also has elves and dwarves and actual magic, whereas Percy Jackson is Greek gods and different godly powers and abilities. So they're different in the details, but in essence and in what you feel when you read it, they are pretty similar to one another. The first chapter is actually from a character named Zed's point of view, who is a half-elf from what I remember, and all he's wanted to do in the first book is to join the Mages Guild and become a mage, work with magic, and embrace that sort of part of him that has always been shunned, because I feel from what I remember in in the first book is that elves were like I said, shunned, but they were like locked out of Freestone, which is the kingdom that they're in right now. And so that's why not many people like Zed, because he's half elf, but he's always wanted to prove people wrong. So I really like in this, the first chapter of this story, that he is, you know, getting more confident in his magic and things like that, because it just shows like the character growth from the first book to the second book. Honestly, it's making me want to continue to read this book regardless of whether I remember what actually happened in the first one or not. It's making me want to continue right now, even though I am currently in the middle of 3 books and have a lot more I want to be reading. So let's see what Google gives us next. 78. Let's go see. First I got number 78, which ended up being Truly Devious, which I've already read. So then I picked again and it ended up being 72, which was great because it was a close number. And so that meant that now I am starting Sal and Gabi Break the Universe by Carlos Hernandez, which is a Rick Riordan Presents book that I have never read. And something that I really like about this video is that it makes you like read books that you literally have like no interest in reading at the current moment. But for all I know, this could be an amazing freaking book. So let's see what happens in the first chapter. Oh my god, I love this book already so much. First of all, this kid is hilarious. I cannot. Sal, right? Is his name Salvador? I think is his first name. Yeah. So it's about this boy named Salvador, and he loves magic, as in like magician stuff. But I didn't know that he's also diabetic, which I don't actually think I've ever read a book with a character who had diabetes before. But he's so funny. Oh my god, I'm sure you could already tell that I was like smiling as I was reading. It's so funny. So it all starts, he's at a new school in Miami. He moved from Connecticut, and of course there's a bully. So it starts with, you know, him trying to help this large kid open his locker, and of course the large kid is gonna get upset and like embarrassed that he can't open the locker, so he's gonna pick on Sal for trying to help him to make himself and feel better. He starts trying to fight with him, so he goes, "Time to die, little man, stand up." So he goes, "I stood all right," got right in his face. "Time to die?" I asked. "Time to die," he repeated. "Like the dead chicken in your locker?" I asked. Then he goes to try to open the locker. He goes, "I can't open the stupid thing. I keep trying, but I can't. Here, let me." He took a step back to let me through, but not without asking, "What? How do you know my combo?" His combo was still taped to the back of the lock, about as sharp as a bowling ball, this yes money. "I didn't put no dead chicken in my locker," he yelled. "You gotta believe me." "I believe you," I said. "Of course I did. It was I who had put it in there after all. Abracadabra, chicken plucker." He's already so funny for a child of such small size, and I love it. I feel like I'm definitely going to continue on with this book at some point. I don't know if it's going to be now or maybe later, but definitely, like, hopefully before the year is up, because already I find this hilarious. Okay, let's see what Google gives me this time. 199? Are you serious? Oh my god. Okay, well I know I ended on that bookshelf over there, so I'm just gonna count backwards from 220 and see what happens. So apparently Google wants to give me nothing but middle grade books, which, I mean, it's fine by me. But the book that originally they chose for 199 was a book that I'd already read. Instead, I picked another number. It ended up being 19. Way off from 199, but it ended up being The Last Life of Prince Alistair by Alexander Bracken, which is the second book to The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding, I think is the first one. But this is actually perfect because it's fall, this is more of like a spooky book, and I never ended up reading the sequel. So let's see what the first chapter is like. Oh my god, I love the end pages. Look at this. That's so fun. So you guys don't know it, but I just waited like 20 minutes to film this part of the video because someone was in the bathroom and I didn't want to be overheard. That is how far my paranoia goes. Anyway, I ended up reading technically what could have been considered 2 chapters. There was a bit of a prologue, and then there was the first chapter, which was only a couple pages long, so I just went ahead and powered through. Something that I really love about this story, not only this one but also the first one, was just remembering how fun and like Halloween-y the series felt, because it's all about this young kid named Prosper Redding whose great times a couple greats grandfather made a deal with a devil named Alistair and essentially doomed his ancestors, or one of his ancestors or whatever, to do the devil's bidding at some point in time. So in the first book, Alistair, I think, comes back to collect and ends up possessing Prosper, who is this like 12-year-old kid. But there's like a bunch of other stuff that goes into the story, and what I really love about this one so far is that the prologue was from Alistair's point of view, and Alistair is really funny. Like, he's just the kind of really old, grumpy devil who like calls Prosper maggot and stuff like that. It's got lots of like descriptions of like gore and eerie things and things that like, you know, send a chill up your spine, and it's so great for this time of year. So I actually totally forgot that I had this on my shelf and that I had this series in general. So I honestly might add this to my October TBR just to finish, because it gives me all of the feelings, even though I did completely forget what the first book was about, and I honestly forgot who all of the characters that they were talking about in the first chapter were. But I love Prosper and I love Alistair, and that's all I need to continue this series. Okay, so I don't think I have too much more memory on my memory card to continue this video, so let's see how much more we can do before I have to stop. The next number we have is 107. Literally, this whole video is just going to be middle grade books. Book number 107 on my shelf is Nightbooks by J.A. White, which I actually have on my October TBR this year, but I haven't filmed that video yet, so you all wouldn't know that. But I have this as a potential book that I'm going to read next month, so I guess we're gonna start reading it now and see if I'm interested in it at all. I don't really remember what this book was about. I know that I got it in an Owl Crate Junior box. It's supposed to be a creepy book that is why I was planning on reading it during Halloween. It's, I think, about this boy who finds this house that has this like really big library or something, but then there's like the owner of the library is either like a witch or a devil or something like that and tries to like keep him there. Something along those lines. I'm not 100% sure, but let's give it a read and see what happens. Ooh, this is cool. Look at the chat. Yeah, this is cool. Look at the table of contents. It's like black and white. It's so cool. These are the kind of things that I never find out if I never read these books. Okay, so I just read the first chapter and I like it so far. I think that it could be an interesting read. It has some potential. The main character's name is Alex. He lives in this apartment with his parents, and when the book starts, he's on his way to the basement, which is, quote, his favorite part of the apartment building, which... Okay, Alex. He's on his way to the basement to destroy something in his backpack that we don't know what it is, but he created them, is what they say. So you're kind of left to wonder, like, what the heck is in his backpack? And on the way there, he gets stopped by this apartment because he hears his favorite movie playing and he's drawn into it. And then a woman opens the door and kind of beckons him inside. He smells pumpkin pie, all of the things that are kind of like leading him into this room. And eventually he gets in there and he gets trapped. Turns out the lady's a witch and she has kidnapped him. That's the whole first chapter. That was literally like all I knew about the entire book, and it all happened in the first chapter. So I'm kind of eager to see where this goes and how he is going to get out and what the witch wants with him. Okay, and then I guess I'll do one more just to round it off to 5 books. We have number 144. Let's go see what book that is and see if it's a middle grade book. So the final book that we have to try out today is actually not a middle grade. We are ending on The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. It took a couple of tries on the Google number generator to get me to a book that I hadn't already read. This was the first one that came up, so this is the first one that we will try reading. Okay, so I just finished the first, like, part of the little prologue thing that came before the first chapter, which I guess was a chapter. I'm honestly not 100% sure, but it was pretty short. But this book has definitely got me intrigued, to say the least. I am confused, but I am very interested in what the heck this is about. So before I actually, like, read the first part of this, all I knew about it was that it was just about a circus. The first chapter opens with a magician, or like a popular magician, and he gets a package which ends up being, lo and behold, his daughter, who he either didn't know that he had or was aware of and then left, but now the daughter is here and something is happening and I'm very confused as to what. But like I said, I'm extremely intrigued because not only is the story just interesting, the writing is actually really good so far. Like, I really like Erin Morgenstern's writing style. Even just from the first couple of pages, like, I can already tell that I'm going to really like it. And in addition, the story, even in the first couple of pages, like, this is all just stuff that I've gathered so far, is giving me a very, like, autumnal feel. I don't know, just like the thought of a circus and like magic and like that sort of thing is just giving me a very fall feel right now, and that is what I'm here for. So honestly, might add this to my list next month. I don't know. I have so many things that I want to read in October. It's crazy. This has definitely got me like really intrigued. It said, oh wait, here. Did I never read the synopsis of this book? What the hell? Behind the scenes, a fierce competition is underway, a duel between two young magicians, Celia and Marco, who have been trained since childhood expressly for this purpose by their mercurial instructor. Celia is the daughter that is in the first chapter, so I guess he's gonna train her to be a magician? I'm so freaking ready for this. I am reading this like as soon as I possibly can. Why did I wait so long? I'm so excited. And so you guys, these are the 5 books. These are the 5 books that I ended up reading in this video. I'm not sure, well, I'm clearly sure which one that I'm most interested in starting first, but after the Night Circus, I'm honestly not sure which one I would be interested in starting. Honestly, all of these really intrigued me, and I'm really interested in finally reading these. They've been on my shelf for so long, some of them, so I'm really, really excited and very happy that I did this video. I don't really know what to ask. If you guys have read any of these books, I guess, let me know what you thought of them in the comments. Let me know which one you think I should start first. I really love making these videos, so if you guys ever want to see another one of these where I just try a bunch of different books and see what works, let me know. But I think that's going to be it for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. You can find all of my handles for my socials in the description below, and I will catch you later. Bye!